of the Matter wouldn't be possible without the support of our sponsors, Coast News Group, Godania Organic Eatery, Repegs, and John Milkowski Tax Law. Together, let's get to the heart of the matter. Welcome to the Heart of the Matter podcast. I'm Junan, and we're here at Insperity. Appreciate them letting us use the conference room here. Again, we handle payroll and HR services. Again, I'm really excited about our guests here. We've currently got Matthew, Ryan, Leslie. Matthew,
hey,
welcome.
How you doing? Thanks for having me.
How you doing?
Doing pretty well.
That's great. Well, let's get right into it. Tell us a little bit about, what was your journey to come to San Diego?
Oh, well, it's quite a unique one. I like to tell people that my life has definitely been a continuous stream of miracles, right? I was born and raised in Alabama, and grandparents did photography, so I decided to try photography a little bit, right? People told me I had a good eye, did some photography in Alabama, photographed this wonderful woman named Christina Litton. 2 weeks later, after I took her picture, she passed away in her sleep.
Oh,
from
wow.
a bladder infection, I know, right? And so I gave all the pictures to her parents. These are yours, take them, I don't want them, I don't need them, just have them all. And they reciprocated by giving me her 96 Ford Explorer. They gave me her vehicle.
Oh, wow.
So I took that as a sign, direct sign from the universe. I mean, granted, at the time, I didn't know anything about the universe or anything of that nature.
Right.
I was from Alabama, right? And started traveling across the United States, asking people a very specific question.
Really?
What's your story? You know, when you ask the people that question, they really kind of do one of two things: either just dive right into something they're passionate about,
Sure.
or kind of pull back and like, how do I actually answer that? Like,
Right.
where do you want me to start?
Exactly. Right? Well, before this, had you traveled a lot at all, or?
Not at all.
Really?
Yeah, really. I think I did one travel when I was like 16, something like that. And so being able to like ask people what their story was gave them an opportunity to really redefine themselves.
Yes.
Right there in that moment. Where do they choose to start? At what point of their life do they want to reference their passions or their sadness? Right.
Right.
So I've really taken that to heart over the years, past 16 years now that I've been traveling.
Really? Okay.
And through all modalities that I've experienced, developed, and become proficient in, I ask that question: what's your story? You know, help people redefine what their story is and realign themselves with their divine purpose, their higher truth.
Well, I love hearing about your story. I mean, what got you to, especially growing up in Alabama, you're kind of used to that. Did your parents travel? Did your family travel? What?
No, actually, my grandmother used to sing us a song as about traveling. You know, like, how are we going to get there? We don't know, but we don't have a dime, but we're just going to do it, and we're going to have a happy time. So it used to be a little song. I'm not going to sing it right now.
Sure.
It was just always kind of stuck in my subconscious,
right?
Reminding me that you don't really need money to travel. You just need a will, and where there's a will, there's a way.
That's great. It's pretty bold to be able to just pick up and just go.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. The idea of where is my next meal going to come from? Where is my next gig going to come from? You know, having photography as my main avenue of travel expenses, it was fairly reliable. You know, go to a new city, meet some new people that want either personal headshots, you know, portfolio shots, or in one scenario, I had a family whose children were about to get their braces put on. And so she wanted pictures with their braces off, literally the day before they were about to get braces. So beautiful synchronistic moments kept occurring like that, where the opportunity to provide a reflection for somebody's beauty, a reflection for them to see themselves in this higher form, was always available no matter where I was.
Right.
So,
had you kind of always been kind of that person that people can go to and open up to, or is it?
Yeah, majority of, I'd say 95% of the time, people would come to me and want to seek some type of clarity, discovery, guidance. Right. So that's really what's developed my personal story into being able to be a facilitator for people's personal growth and expansion through many different modalities: acro yoga, certified yoga teacher, sound healer facilitator with this magnificent instrument behind me.
Right. Yeah.
So there's a lot of avenues that have been presented in my life to support people through their own personal journey.
Okay. That's great. Yeah. And you mentioned the instrument here. I mean, can you tell us a little about it? I've been excited to hear about it.
Yeah. So this is a didgeridoo. Are you familiar with what that is?
No, I had not heard about it.
All right, so traditionally, a didgeridoo is an Aboriginal instrument from Australia, typically agave. The hole is bored out by termites, typically. However, nowadays, an instrument can be made with pretty much anything. And there are a lot of woods, different types of varying woods that didgeridoos are traditionally made out of. A lot of them can be made out of eucalyptus as well. And this one specifically is a madrone tree. It's up in the northern California, southern Oregon area. Have you ever seen madrone trees before?
No, I haven't.
They're like very unique, kind of very branchy, dark red.
Okay.
Very, very intense, very unique type of tree. And this one in specific is named Madrona, of course, it being a madrone tree.
Right.
However, I was with my one of my previous partners at the time, and we were just casually chatting. If we had a daughter, Madrona would be such a beautiful name for that.
Okay.
Literally the next morning, the master craftsman sent me a message, said, "I found your didgeridoo. It's a madrone tree."
You're kidding.
Absolutely.
The universe works in strange ways.
It's quite a unique thing. There's a very special, very sacred crystal that sits inside of that didgeridoo.
Really?
And that crystal spoke to me as clear as I'm speaking to you now and told me to have a didgeridoo made. So what are you supposed to do with that information?
Sure.
Get a didgeridoo made.
Right. Yeah.
Just see what happens, right? It's a matter of, is this real, or is this just a manifestation of my own subconscious? Like, I'm supposed to get a didgeridoo made. I mean, a guy from Alabama supposed to play a didgeridoo. It doesn't work like that, right?
Right.
However, I just listened to it, right? I pushed forward with it, and a couple $1,000s later, with the custom-made kit, carbon fiber, and this beautiful didgeridoo, it's got a crystal code, about 43 different crystals.
Wow.
It was crafted. And you don't really know what a didgeridoo is going to sound like until it's fully made, right? So sometimes they can be varying frequencies, hertz frequencies as far as the tuning scale is concerned, from like 445, 440, 432, 416, it really can be varying depending on the length of the didgeridoo and the size. And of course, this specific didgeridoo, because of that very special crystal, was in the 432 Pythagorean tuning, key of C. So you take a tuning standard, try to put it on 440 like a regular tuner.
Sure.
It won't pick up. It won't show you a note. Change it down to 432, concert A tuning standard.
Really?
Exactly, spot on C. And it resonates, the drone, the frequency that's produced from it is 64 hertz, which is a very unique frequency, as it's akin to the parasympathetic nervous system.
Right.
And also the key of C resonating with the key of B's, right? The note that bees produce with their hum. So quite a unique instrument for all these unique little pieces to have perfectly fell into place. Yet, I'm just a dude from Alabama, or so I thought at the time.
It sounds like it was meant for you. I mean, the universe put it together.
Most certainly, and through the gathering of my own personal data through conscious observation, I was able to discover that, okay, well, actually, maybe I'm not just a dude from Alabama. Maybe there's something quite significant to what I'm here to do and why I have chosen to be here on this planet at this time. And that's ultimately led to the development of my company, development of my healing practice, becoming a conscious observer, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, all things that I do are centered around this instrument.
Sure. Well, I'm sure music and sound are very healing. So
they are indeed. I mean, all things have a frequency, do they not? A vibration.
Absolutely.
Right. So our company, Echo Phi, everything has everything to do with everything.
Wow.
I've yet to find somebody that can prove me wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. So as far as the healing goes, I mean, obviously, how long ago did you get this?
About 8.5 years ago.
8.5 years. So it's been an 8.5 year journey of kind of healing people with the sound, right?
And myself as well, right? That's a symbiotic relationship. As I continue to play this instrument, I learn deeper aspects of myself, and the deeper that I learn about myself, the more effective I can help others in learning about themselves.
Right. Do you remember the first moment that you heard it for yourself? How you felt? Yeah.
Well, in all honesty, I think here recently, the first time that I really got to experience a taste of my own medicine was what I did a recording with Madrona. And then I had one of those vibrational vests that you can wear.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was able to hear and feel physically the vibrations of that instrument, right? For the first time ever. Because typically, as a facilitator, I'm on the other end here, right?
Right.
Rarely am I down there. The only other person to play it has been the master craftsman.
Wow. Okay.
Right. So to be able to hear with the headphones and physically feel with this vibrational suit that I was wearing my own medicine. It was quite unique,
what did you feel? What's kind of the
sense? Just kind of like opening, expanding, like clearing, recentering. I mean, as my life continues, there's always these opportunities that I have to reform, reconfigure myself, reinvent myself, shall we say.
Okay.
And so this is another factor to prepare me for these new opportunities, this next expansion with my own personal life and with my companies. You know, these are big responsibilities that I've taken on. So
absolutely,
to have that feeling myself, I was like, yeah, that's what I needed to do. Yeah, I just needed a little bit of dose of Madrona here.
Yeah, absolutely, that's great. And then is it made? I mean, now for life, you can only play it, or is it?
I mean, anyone can technically play it as long as I give them permission.
I see.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but
it's a part of you now.
Indeed, it is. It's an extension of me. Right. And what I've come to discover is actually it is the manifestation of my higher self in physical form. And so my ability to speak beyond language is through this instrument, using its vibration, using its frequency, and coined the term sound alchemy.
Okay.
Right. So sound healing is really prevalent. It's starting to become a growing thing, especially in like even Google and Microsoft, even Ferrari for that matter, have implemented some type of holistic services, including sound healing, into their corporate structure. Okay. And so what makes this instrument a little bit different than just your typical singing bowl sound healing experience is the sound alchemy, the transmutation of the energy to back into something that you can utilize. Because oftentimes people think sound healing, like there might be something broken with them, right?
Oh, right.
And there really isn't. There's nothing broken or wrong with them. They're just covered in something that needs to be cleared away.
Sure.
Right. So specifically with this instrument, we together are known as Dragonfire. That's our artist name. And that's also what we produced in the sound alchemy process. Dragonfire burns away what's no longer serving. Right. I'm not the one to tell you what that is. Right. Only you and your connection to higher self, connection to God, spirit, whatever you'd like to reference, can tell you what that is. And so what we do is breathe Dragonfire, this flame that burns away what's no longer serving, and you're left with whatever is going to serve your reality.
That's amazing. Well, I've definitely heard music or heard a beautiful singer, and it's emotional. You feel it within your body. So, I mean, this is great. But I love the fact that you said Google and Ferrari. I mean, they're, large corporations that are implementing kind of sound healing, sound, vibrations. What type of work do you do?
Well, so specifically with our company Echo Phi, we do work with companies in helping to increase employee retention, right? Creating a sound healing experience, and most, in general, holistic services in its complexity, right? It could be yoga, it could be meditation, it could be sound healing, it could be acupuncture. There are a lot of different modalities now that are surfacing that show that having these present in the workplace increase employee retention by up to 30%.
I definitely see that. I mean, it's been so sterile for so many years, but I feel like a lot of companies, I work for Insperity, so same thing. We help with employee retention and so on. I've definitely seen an opening to kind of holistic work and sound healing. So this is great. Yeah.
Yeah, it works out. There's people thought it was a hippie mumbo jumbo, some spiritual woo-ha, as people say, but the more that science is uncovering how vibrational frequency is a critical component to our physical reality, right, is the very varying factor. I mean, everything vibrates.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. So imagine the aspects of a corporate environment and of a workplace, right? People are typically leaving those environments because they feel like they're being drained. They feel like they're being sucked or they're not fulfilled.
Sure.
Right?
Well, plus I think the fact that social media plays into it, we've seen it's a digital world, so we're being inundated with all these information, sounds, and things like that. So I think this is a great way to kind of center yourself and kind of block out the noise.
Yeah, exactly. You can feel it in your body. People get the connection to their body again. So that's what we do. Is we enter into these spaces, and whether I personally am there with my didgeridoo facilitating, or we have our team on board to cultivate an intentional space and get the entire network supporting this holistic experience.
Sure.
I personally work with the CEOs. I work with the people who own the company, right? Because I believe that really when we're dealing with something that needs to be cleared up, the most effective avenue for that is to start at the top.
That's amazing. Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. And do you facilitate through individual sessions or group sessions as well, or did you primarily like kind of the one-on-ones?
Yeah, definitely. So my practice, Becoming a Conscious Observer, does have a 6-month program.
Okay.
We will take a group of around like 6 or 7 CEOs together, or business owners, where as long as they meet the criteria for this desired expansion, right?
Sure.
And work with them to like help uncover what has kept them from feeling fulfilled in their life.
Right.
They have this great financial success. They got everything they need as far as what society says, but yet something's still missing. Like
Right.
it's not fully there yet.
Yeah.
And so we find out what is that missing thing. And then Madrona is really good for clearing away all this stuff.
Right.
And then being like, wow, look, there it is. In fact, actually, there's the movie Soul, I believe it is.
Okay.
It's a little cartoon movie
Yeah.
that I think that Pixar just released. There's a scene where this big, giant, dark, globular monster is walking, and it was like, sell, trade, sell, trade, sell, trade. And it was like, what is going on there? Like, oh, like that's just one of those people that's like lost track of who they are and like is totally stuck in this mindset.
Right.
And the little characters start doing a little dance with like bells and chimes, and then all of a sudden the darkness falls away, and you have this cute little character, which is like representation of the inner child.
Right.
It's like, sell, trade, so wait, where am I? Like, what's
Right.
going on? And they open up a little portal,
Yeah.
and he jumps straight back into his body to this stockholder guy.
Yeah.
Who's just like, sell, trade, and then, wait, what am I doing? And he like knocks his computer off and like runs around and he's like, I'm free, So there really is this opportunity, that is of course the most extreme version of it.
Yeah.
Where somebody quits their job that they've had for their
Right.
entire life and decides to travel and explore deeper aspects of who they are and
Sure.
know themselves, right? However, most people are about half and half. They've got a general understanding, a general idea, and they've been working this thing that they kind of like, but just feel like they're missing something.
Okay.
And so we really work with them to help find out what that missing thing is.
That's great. Yeah, honestly, the Friday of the group, again, every Friday, we've been getting a lot of executive business owners that are kind of stuck. They get into this point where, especially coming out of COVID, now this is kind of the reality of what life is like, with the Zoom world and everything like that. So a lot of them aren't happy with what they're currently doing because you can tell they're just doing it because it pays them. It makes good money, but they're not necessarily happy, and they kind of need that balance. So that's great that you can help bring that out.
Yeah, it's one of those things where having Madrona breathe that dragon fire, right, gives them the opportunity to just shed it, right?
Sure.
I imagine like a regular fire, because this dragon fire only burns what's no longer serving. That's it. That's the only thing that will fuel it, right? So a regular fire burns on wood, burns on many different things. Right. Typically, if we just use the wood example, when the fire burns, if the wood hasn't been disturbed, we're left with this like ash on the outside, right?
Right.
And if you like smack it or move the wood at all, what happens? The ash falls off, and then revealed is this like burning bright white fire, right? This like intensity. And so dragon fire works in the same respect.
Wow.
Burns away what's no longer serving, clears it all, and then we kind of just like give them a little shake, like an energetic shake, right? And then just falls away. Just as the movie reference I was just referencing.
Sure, yeah.
Like it just kind of falls away, and they're like, wait, what have I been doing? Do I want to do something else?
Sure.
Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe you just need to do something a little bit different. Maybe you want to do something entirely different. And so that's what our 6-month program is for, is to really assist these business owners and CEOs in like finding out what is that little thing that, they have all these other things.
Right.
But there's that one thing that they need.
Sure.
And what is it in layman's terms? It's reconnecting the spirit back to the connection to the earth.
Right.
Right. Loving oneself unconditionally.
Right.
There are a lot of factors that come into play that might inhibit that. Relationships, family dynamics, work relationships, a lot of different things, right? Yeah. But that's our goal, is to like help people reconnect with the planet, reconnect with themselves, and be connected together, in harmony, in unity, in fact. And that is what we did last year, and what we look forward to next year is our production, Unity Consciousness Expo.
Yeah,
right?
Tell me more about that.
Well, exactly as it sounds, an expo centered around unity consciousness.
Okay.
Right, the idea that we are all connected, right, interconnected. There's a woven thread between us all. Right, everything has everything to do with everything, as I was stated earlier. Yeah. And what makes us unified, however, is our individual autonomy, our uniqueness. Right. So who you are, Jun, and who I am, they're not the same. Yet at the same time, this quantum entanglement, literally at the same time, we are connected and we are the same. Right. So how does someone process that? It can be really difficult to try to integrate that information of like, we're both connected and the same, but yet we're both unique and distinct. Right.
Hey, can you believe we have 336 members now of the group?
I know.
That's
Crazy how fast that was actually in a
Let's
year.
celebrate.
Okay, you're always wanting, look at that. Look how quick he is to celebrate.
Well, we have to celebrate.
What are you looking for though?
So that corkscrew.
Tune. Los Cuernos. No corkscrew needed. What do you want? You want a rosé? Red. Another red. But you want Chardonnay, I'm sure.
Chardonnay, just
Pop that open.
And so Unity Consciousness Expo really focuses on empowering people with that knowledge and that information through experience. You got to experience what it's like to be connected and then be honored and supported for who you are in your individuality.
That's amazing. Yeah, I see a lot of people too, and I absolutely agree. I think people, they don't necessarily understand that we're each unique beings, and people get into conflict because someone will sit there and be like, well, why don't you think the way I think? And then it becomes this conflict because I don't understand why you don't understand what I understand, and I try to force it on you, and then there's this conflict there. But I love that. I love that concept.
I understand where they're coming from too. I mean, I'm born and raised in Alabama.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information that was forced on me, and at the same time, I find myself like, do you know about sacred geometry? Why don't you know about sacred geometry?
Sure.
Okay, wait, slow down. The most effective ways to share this information with people is for them to have a first-hand experience with it. Have you ever played with a cymatics machine?
No.
All right, so a cymatics machine is literally just a dial you can turn.
Okay.
Right? It depends on the newer machines are represented this way. You just simply turn a dial, and the vibrational frequency shifts this metal plate. Right? Huh. And there's little bitty sand particles on top of this plate. Once you change that dial to a different frequency, a different geometrical shape is then created.
I have seen that before. Okay, right? Yes.
But no one's necessarily played with it.
No, right?
And imagine if you were right in front of it, twisting it yourself.
Right.
I don't got to tell you anything anymore. I don't even have to like no sacred geometry. You see it right there in front of you, and you're able to experience it. It's like tangible, right?
Right.
So then people are like, "What is this? I want to know more about this."
Right.
Wonderful. Come talk to us. We've got plenty of information for
That's amazing. Well, kind of going back to Alabama, then, what does your family think of this journey?
Oh, my family loves it.
Yeah.
You know, it's having an evangelical Christian dad. We've found synergy and connectivity in ways that, say, for instance, the Bible represents sacred geometry and talks about this information. Right? The same with my mom. I mean, obviously, my mom loves me doing whatever I do, no matter what it is. But I brought the instrument back home with them. They were incredibly impressed and also kind of like, I don't know, like, what is this, right?
Sure.
But then I've noticed slowly but surely, my sister now starts doing yoga.
Really?
She's into spirituality. My other sister in Australia, she lives in Australia, is doing spirituality and is talking to me about it. So,
well, they probably feel the calmness and the kindness that you kind of evoke from having gone through this journey as well. So it
has definitely had an effect on me and my evolution and ability to communicate with others and hold space with them, you know, and family being one of the most challenging, right?
Sure.
Because they're the ones we have all this connection with. So.
Oh yeah. My family, very traditional. My parents are immigrants, and you know, when I do yoga, I tell them about yoga. I tell them about surfing, meditation. That again, they don't understand it, but you know, it can
be a challenge holding that unconditional love and acceptance for them as well as myself when we're in each other's presence. Yet at the same time, just being okay with witnessing, right? Gathering data, more observation of what happens when we're in each other's presence. So, oh, okay, that's where that comes from. Oh, I see. Now that's the reason why I do that all the time. I didn't notice that, you know. And that really stems with the practice becoming a conscious observer. We focus on, even with the 6-month program, we have smaller programs available for people that don't need as much time. Even what we call a quantum leap program, where some people are like, I want to get as much as possible, and this is how I work.
Sure.
We were talking earlier about you waking up at 2 a.m. People knowing themselves and what do they need, and some people just need that. So we do have multiple avenues for people to explore our practice.
That's great.
However, the main point is still the same. Like, clear things away, right? Bring clarity.
Right.
cultivate awareness through that clarity, right? And then from there, understand what the compromise is to achieve that desired result from that clarity.
Okay.
And then empower through courage. Help people cultivate courage within themselves to move forward. And those are the three modalities of our practice. And we believe that any person, any single person, no matter who it is, can change through those three methods. Cultivating awareness.
That's great.
Empowering a compromise, and then inspiring courage within them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's very healing. So as far as the journey goes, I mean, it does sound like it's a practice. So it's something you have to continually do on your own to kind of really develop. I mean, it's like a muscle. You have to be able to kind of develop it, right? So as far as executive, which is an amazing thing that you can help executives kind of navigate this digital world and kind of the stresses of having everything on their shoulders. But, I definitely see a lot of applications for other people, with addictions, with anything, just personal healing, right? I mean, I think everybody needs healing.
Right. And in general, you can do this in your own time, right? You can do this in your own flow and in your own way. Right. What we do is serve as the catalyst for that self-awareness. It's simply gathering data. Data is all around us. Everything is data. And especially with individuals who work in the tech fields and tech companies, right? We're always constantly coding, understanding. You need more data, need the data, look at the data, right? So what is the data for an individual's perception of reality? And are they choosing to see that data? Right? Someone interacting with us in a certain way. What does that say? That's data, right? Our choice to go left versus right. That's data. What does it say?
Right.
And most people are just not aware of how to identify that data.
Sure.
So that's what our practice does, right? Is help people identify what that data is. And so maybe they just need a small little segment. Maybe they just need an hour conversation.
Sure.
Right? Maybe they need a 6-month journey. Right. Whatever is necessary to support them and coming to that self-awareness epiphany of how to gather data of their own reality and then take control of that data.
Right.
So what happens when somebody's fully consciously aware of the external world and their internal world? They're no longer controllable. Right?
Sure.
They have full divine sovereignty in themselves and how they operate. So someone could say, I don't like that. I don't like how you operate that. And they'll be like, well, I see your opinion. Thank you. But it's not going to, they're, oh my God, what am I going to do? And vice versa. It's like, I love how you do that. I love how you operate that. Well, thank you.
Wow.
But they're not going to build this ego and this perspective of like, now I'm higher than you, right? So there is this kind of dichotomy that occurs when we find ourselves in the aspect of full conscious awareness, right? Being a conscious observer, as we referred to it. Then the individual is fully in integrity with their own divine autonomy, knowing who they are, how they operate, what they came here for, what their divine purpose is.
Yeah.
And it acts as this like personal data field, like a firewall, like this, like a VPN.
No, it sounds, I mean, I've seen data before, I've seen research before, but I mean, it'd be amazing to see kind of the research of your process and how it changes someone, how it changes them, their energy level, their mental, capacity and things like that. I mean, I could see a lot of clarity with just kind of slowing things down and paying attention to yourself and listening to the sounds and things like that. So
definitely, yeah, and nature has a huge part in that as well. Like we were talking about earlier, connecting back with Mother Gaia, the planet. Whatever reference people like to identify the planet we live on, connecting with it. And that's a large part of the discourse that we're experiencing, right? Is this disconnectivity to the planet. I mean, how many times have you ever gone to like a river and just sat and meditated and listened to the river?
Yeah.
It's so amazing. You come out of it and you can still hear the trickles. You still feel like you're present with it.
Right. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Well, I mean, it's great because you've basically scientifically proven this for the last 8 years because it's been a journey for yourself. At what point were you like, this is what I want to do as far as helping people? I mean, because I know you got 8 years ago, but what was kind of that pivotal point where you're just like, you know what? This is my journey. This is what I'm meant to do, my mission.
Well, yeah, it was basically 8 years ago, right?
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, that was the awareness, right? So now I putting myself through my own practice, right? Awareness was, this is what I'm here to do. This showed up in my life to assist in the process. Like, this is really what I'm supposed to do? all right, so what is the compromise? And so over, 7 years of that journey was developing what things do I need to change?
Right.
So I attended over 200 events on the West Coast, right? A little bit over in the Midwest as well. And this again was all data gathering for the event that we'll be pre-producing with our company.
That's great.
Yeah, focused on everything being sound, everything a vibration. And so through that journey, it was like, what do I need to change? What elements do I need to like let go of myself? And what elements do I need to really take hold and build foundations on, right?
Right.
Practice, train, get stronger in. And that was one of them, was the connection of how to quantify this data to be able to share with others and articulate it in such a way that people can understand. Both these CEOs and your common individual, like who works at a regular restaurant. Like any way to be able to make them understand what was the most effective avenue was vibration, was frequency, is this interaction, like with like a cymatics machine, right?
Right.
The ability to understand something just from the experience of it.
Wow.
Without having to talk about it. Working within the subconscious realm. And then through that, really over the past like 2 or 3 years of my time down here in San Diego, was developing this courage to fully step forward into it.
Really?
It's a big responsibility, hosting events that are empowering consciousness for all varying types of people, and being this bridge for, say, the working class citizen and the hired CEO, and be able to have them communicate. I mean, one of my dreams and my visions is to have both a CEO of a 6-7 figure business and an average worker, right, interacting at one of the booths, having a talk with the person who's there, and they spark this kinship, right, and connectivity and familiarity that surpasses their societal, identifications, right, their labels, and so they just hit it off. Wonderful connection. And then later they're like, "What do you do?" "Oh, I own a 7-figure business." "What do you do?" I work down the street." And they're like, "What?" Like just completely blown away in this like epiphany like experience where they have this realization that they're both human. Right? And that there's that element of connectivity that transcends whatever label society decides to put upon us.
I love that. I mean, you're a connector. You're getting people together. So as far as kind of I see a lot of similarities to jiu-jitsu. I've talked about on the podcast before, but it's, we have a CEO of a life sciences company, a biotech company. We have construction workers. And when you're on the mat, it's active meditation. But I love that because sometimes you can talk to somebody, you can talk to a coach, you can talk to a counselor, and you're talking, but sometimes you're not necessarily listening because you're just talking. I love the fact that with jiu-jitsu and with kind of sound therapy and the modality that you do, that sometimes it's just, you have to really understand yourself. Sometimes you need peace. You need the vibrations, but you don't necessarily need to talk. It could just be that connection that, get through your emotions and feel it. So I love that. It's amazing.
Especially with jiu-jitsu. I mean, like, you're really connecting to your body and listening to the body language and the energy that's coming from the other person, like trying to, in essence, pick up on their neural synapses, the vibrational frequencies and the light that's being emitted from their brain of like, what's going to be their next move,
right? Absolutely.
And trying to anticipate it and then position yourself in such a way that you can then overcome that next move. And it requires a calm, meditative state of mind.
And a practice of getting there. Because, I think, I'm sure you're very, you kind of have that energy where you can feel when somebody comes in and they're not in a good mood. They just walk in the room and you feel that vibration. It's there. Or someone's sad, someone's happy. You can feel that vibration. But a lot of people aren't necessarily aware. They know something triggers them, but it's really that energy they're feeling from somebody else.
Right. And then so it goes back to that conscious awareness, right? Becoming a conscious observer and taking the time to be like, what changed the room's frequency?
Right.
Was it this person? And then are we going to lay judgment on that person? Right. Or are we going to like be inquisitory and find out like, what is this person going through? Like, for instance, at one of the events that I attend, the sound crew for the next performance, I could hear in the background this conversation of like being upset and just like feeling like not reciprocated. Their value wasn't being supported. And I just walked over to them and just casually mentioned like, "Hey, thanks you guys for being here. Like it wouldn't sound the same without you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm super grateful you guys are here. And instantaneously, you could see
You
their
could
body
feel it.
language. Yeah,
Yeah.
immediately they shifted, and we're just like, well, we couldn't do it without you. So, like, thank you for
Oh,
being here.
right.
Like, we need you to be here to listen to it.
Yeah.
And it changed the whole perception of what their experience was almost instantaneously, right? Without them even knowing.
Right.
And so the element of, say, someone that walks into the room and is like in a bad vibe, right? We can have an effect on that directly. Just connecting with each other as humans and being like, hey, what are you going through?
Right.
And that can be a challenge, especially for someone
Sure.
if they're, say, a therapist.
Right.
They don't necessarily want to talk to the person without being compensated, right?
Right.
But it just takes a group, it takes a community, right, to be able to do that, so that no one feels like they're burdening the responsibility of that alone.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's really what my profession is. You mentioned the connector with the Unity Consciousness Expo and all these other avenues. I'm a space curator. I'm a facilitator of a space where everyone can be in this connectivity, this frequency of unconditional love and acceptance, and then effortlessly can embody their own personal truth.
Right.
And if everyone's doing that together, then we don't really have a lot of discourse. There's not
Sure.
much discourse that occurs.
No, absolutely. It's probably, I mean, it's a beautiful, it sounds like a beautiful event. When's the next event going to be?
It's going to be late summer next year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Late
so I'm
summer.
excited about that.
Typically, what, same location, or are you going to
We
rotate
are
it?
still going to be in San Diego, but
Okay.
we're in the process of finding out where our ideal spot is going to be for sure.
That's amazing.
Something that's super conducive for the expansion that we wish to have.
Okay, that's great. And then as far as if someone's interested in that event, obviously it's in the future. What's the best way to kind of look it up or look you up?
Yeah, unityconsciousnessexpo.com, and then our company echo-phi.com, and divineobserver.com for becoming a conscious observer. They all seamlessly integrate into each other.
Right.
And eventually we'll have more avenues for, say, with the didgeridoo doing sound healings at weddings,
Right.
doing sound healings for houses that are just being
Oh,
sold.
that's-
But ideally, we love facilitating space for the houses that have already sold.
Right.
When a family is just about to move into that house,
Oh,
they want it
that's
to be in
amazing.
their energy. They want it
Yeah.
to be their space, right? Like, who knows what could have happened there in the past? And so we come in, we clear the energy out, both energetically and physically if necessary, but oftentimes just within the spiritual aspects, playing this didgeridoo, opening up what one would
Right.
perceive as portals in different spaces,
Sure.
specifically curated to their intentionality of the environment. And so then when we leave a week later, they're like, oh my God, this space feels so
You
much
just feel
better.
different.
Yeah, they can feel like they're just like fully in themselves in that environment.
Sure. No, absolutely. Well, I can definitely see that because I've definitely, looking for the current house I live in previous homes, when you walk in a home, sometimes you just feel it, and it just feels heavy, or it feels dark, or it feels,
Yeah.
you're just like, I'm not interested, because you don't feel good when you go in there. So absolutely. I know my wife, she'll do the Palo Santo, the house, the
that's
doorways, things like that. So yeah, no, absolutely. I think this is great. Nobody else is really doing this, right?
This has not really been done before.
Right.
And it, specifically because this instrument is so good at, again, removing things no longer serving, right?
Right.
So this space, like a clearing environment of a family just moving into this house, it's perfect for it. When Palo Santo does a great job,
sure.
Sage does a great job, but they can only do so much.
Right.
Right? Literally bringing in a vibrational frequency changes everything. Everything. And I've had too many people now consistently tell me, like, what did you just do this? And my whole house feels
Just
amazing,
opens
feels
up.
different. Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, all I did was just do what you asked me to, right? Clear the space to prepare for your energy to be present in it.
That's great. And even for business, I feel like it'd be good for a business to kind of just clear the air to help add abundance. And
Indeed. Well,
Yeah.
that's where we work with the companies to like
Right.
facilitate for their employees. So oftentimes we'll do it in their environment, right? So it clears that energy out as well.
right.
I mean, if we're focused on the aspect of taking a shower every day to clear ourselves of the dirt and like clear ourselves of the work week,
Sure.
right? The same is true for spaces. And so bringing this instrument in, clearing out the space allows for people to be fully present, increase productivity. People enjoy the workplace a little bit
Right.
more. They
Yeah.
feel like, there's something to look forward to.
Sure.
Yeah, so it works out really well, and I'm excited to see as we continue to connect with more companies that are not only open, but just in need of this, right?
Yeah.
To see how much we're able to increase their employee retention and their productivity is. And we all know that increased employee retention, productivity, happier employees make more money.
Absolutely. Absolutely true. And I feel like San Diego too they're very health conscious and wellness conscious. So I think this is a great city to be in, to be able to create your Unity Festival and help companies as well.
When you say festival, it's not a festival.
Yeah.
It's an expo.
Expo.
But it does imbue aspects of a festival, right? Because what happens at a festival? Have you ever been to one?
Sure. Yeah.
Right. You really get this opportunity to feel like you could just be free and be yourself. I mean, if anybody's ever been to Burning Man, right? It's a place where you can just be whoever you want to be. Right. So imagine that in an environment that is also work centered.
Right.
And so connecting everybody to be this like new version of themselves in an environment that is an expo, where you could explore different companies that also have holistic services, explore different modalities where you can like engage with something and see firsthand that geometry is like a physical manifestation of vibration.
Right.
It really changes things, really does something for everyone who's attending. So it does have festival elements.
Okay.
And eventually we will be making a festival where you can experience this firsthand, just similar to Burning Man, right?
Sure.
But for now, it is an expo where...
How good was that episode?
So good. Let's celebrate.
Where do you want to go?
JoJo's Creamery.
Ooh, my favorite. Look at all the flavors.
They even have vegan.
Ooh, awesome.
Hi, welcome in, you guys.
Hi, thank you. How are you?
Good. Is there anything I can get started for you?
My go-to is peanut butter cup and coconut almonds.
So I'm going to do coconut mounds in a cup, please.
All right, that'll be $15.85.
All right. Wait, my wallet.
June, you can use repegs.
Oh, that's right.
And you guys get 2 free cookies with those.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Repegs is so easy to use. Thanks a lot.
Multiple companies are coming together to support this greater vision. I mean, we really believe that the next iteration of business is prosperity and abundance mindset.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And if companies are not embodying it, people aren't going to buy their products anymore.
No, you're right. Yeah.
So this is the avenue for these companies to come to this space and connect with either holistic services that they can empower them to that next phase of business,
Right.
or just witness ones that are already doing it now.
Sure. No, absolutely. And to be able to interact with their employees and their staff that they're at peace, they're happy. I mean, I think we've all been to a business where you can just tell they're just not happy to be there. They get paid. They're just not friendly. They just, because they're going through whatever they're going through.
Yeah, exactly.
And they haven't gotten to that point of just clarity and peace. So.
Right? And then on top of that, our keynote speakers and the speakers that we have, the workshops that we'll have, really just drive forward this understanding that the next iteration of business is empowerment, is inspiring your employee base, right?
Sure.
Paying employees a just wage so that they're not constantly trying to strike or go on strike or fighting against your system. And then people leave the work environment feeling uplifted and inspired and empowered rather than drained, feeling like they don't need to be there anymore.
Right.
And entering this space of scarcity, this fear-based mentality that has been so dominant of our culture for such a long time.
Yeah.
Like, that's over. It's over. And the only effective ways to make these changes is to make something new that makes the old obsolete. And so this new understanding of prosperity and abundance-based mindset in business, holistic services in the workforce, in the work environment. And we even provide these retreats, for employees and for the CEOs, right, to experience this firsthand. Take a load off, take some time off, right?
Sure.
What does it look like to have a little bit more play in your work environment and empowering people to, like, is this really where you want to be working? So maybe Steve is working accounting, right? But he really wants to be entering data. Let him go work and enter data. He's going to be happier, he's going to be more productive, and vice versa. So really working with these companies to find out what are the ideal spaces for everyone to thrive.
Right.
And when everybody's thriving, the company's going to have even more success.
Absolutely. So then how many years ago was it when you started first working with like a company and you saw the effect that it had on the
about
business
3
and
years ago
employees?
now.
Okay. That's great.
And it's a bit of slow build-up, right? It's like,
Sure.
especially with all the things that we've gone through,
Yeah.
with COVID, and a lot of changes have occurred.
Right.
But that also worked out in our advantage by providing an opportunity for people to see what happens when they're back at home,
Right.
right? They can work. They don't. Oh, I don't have to go to the office.
Yeah.
Then they started resenting going to the office because
Sure.
they'd rather be at home. And so, really, it created an opportunity for us, right, to inspire these companies to bring this on board,
Right.
right, to start seeing that these positive changes are actually going to work out far better for them in the long run
Right.
as the world continues to shift, as the perspective continues to shift.
Right.
Who doesn't want to work for a company that actually treats them well?
Oh, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
most certainly. And with as hard it is to keep employee retention in today's society,
Right.
that's the key. Making sure that you're taking care of your employees, making sure that
Right.
they're well taken care of, right?
Yeah.
That is what's going to bring them, and having these holistic services provided by our company, Echo Phi, ensures that they're going to stick around.
That's great. Well, I also feel like a lot of people, because of COVID and everything became remote, everyone was isolated. So that, you know, you had to deal with your emotions and everything in the world kind of by yourself. A lot of
Right.
individuality in there. And so I think this helps kind of opening them up, release any of the things that they've had some heavy baggage with. And yeah, I love the connection. I mean, it really does. I mean,
Yeah.
to inspire people, that's amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, that's great. And then you had mentioned the weddings too. So
Oh yeah. So weddings again, removing things no longer serving. What better way to honor and celebrate this
Right.
divine union than getting rid of all the things that you had in the past? Right?
that's, yeah.
I was like, forgive but don't forget, right? So
Right.
remember them, but just let them go.
Oh, that's
And so
amazing.
this didgeridoo is perfect for that, and cultivating a sound healing experience for the entire party, right?
Right.
Like the reception, before and after for the groom,
Yes.
to have this like clarity and then like reorientation back into their own
Wow.
personal energy. And the most recent one we did up in the Avenue of the Giants, so the Redwoods,
Yeah,
they just absolutely loved it.
Right.
As soon as I told them, hey, focus on what is no longer serving you, and prepare for this next journey together with each other. Both of them said, we knew exactly what it is we wanted
Really?
to focus on.
wow,
And they had a wonderful experience, transmuted and empowered. So
that's great.
They left me a wonderful review. I was like, whoa, guys, that you can't say all that. And like,
Right. Well, that's
and they're like,
amazing.
well, this is our truth. This is what happened. for
Yeah.
us. So, okay, all right.
Well, I'm sure even the guests as well. I mean, the wedding party, the guests, everyone gets something out of it because I mean, it's a
Indeed.
beautiful experience. It's unique. I've never heard of having something like this at a wedding,
It doesn't exist.
but it
yet.
does make sense.
Yeah.
On that one day, that special day that hopefully you only do once. Clear out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you could always do a vow renewal
Sure.
process, and we can assist you a couple, 10 years down the line to
Yeah.
like clear off some of the stuff about
Right.
who didn't take the trash out, and
Yeah,
who
sure.
didn't wash the dishes, right?
Yeah.
To like re-embody that connection and its purity. Right?
Sure.
Kinda shake
You're a
things
marriage
off.
counselor too, so.
And I am there to assist anyone through their process of self-discovery, right? Whether that means learning more about your past through NLP processing, clearing away things no longer serving, or
Right.
marriage relationship counseling.
Sure. Yeah.
Acro yoga is a wonderful tool that I use for that as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Physical body, like we were talking about with jujitsu, understanding the physical body and its language. What does it speak?
Sure.
If there is a trust dynamic that's been broken in the relationship, it will show up in that exercise of acro yoga.
Oh, really?
Someone's like,
Okay.
I don't know if I feel comfortable getting on this person's feet. And it's like, this person you've been with for how long?
Oh, wow.
And then vice versa, one person who's got a little bit of stubbornness is like, my arm is straight. And it's like, oh, is it really? Look at your arm. And
Really?
they're like, oh, okay, it's not straight. So like full on body awareness instantaneously
That's amazing.
helps to transmute and alchemize the relationship dynamic and the
Sure.
troubles they might be having.
Sure. Well, we get kind of stuck in this box and
Mhm.
we don't really see anything outside of it. And I mean, that's great that you help them kind of open it up and look, my arm isn't straight
Yeah.
the whole time I thought. And now if I look back at all the arguments I've had, well, maybe my arm
wasn't straight. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so that's the aspect of becoming a conscious observer. It's like awareness can never be removed.
Right.
So once you know that your arm wasn't straight, you're now looking for all the other times that maybe your arm wasn't straight.
That's amazing.
And then it presents that opportunity for that compassion to exist, to be like, hey, honey, I remember back in this one day, my arm definitely was not straight then. Like, I'm sorry about
Right.
that.
Yeah.
And that's
taking
so
ownership
much.
of yourself.
Exactly. Again,
Yeah.
empowering this divine sovereignty, self-awareness through the practice of becoming a conscious observer.
Right.
It really allows someone to see themselves in their own image, right? Without the constrictions from society saying you're this, or your parents saying you're this, or your siblings, or your friends, or even your partner.
Right.
Right? What are you? Who are you? And what are you here to do? What is your divine truth? Your golden ratio life path is what we refer to it as.
Wow.
And one of the most beautiful things about it is you can quantum leap beyond all the processes. You simply have to just accept the awareness that you're already on your divine path.
Right.
Simply the perception that we're not is what defines us not being there.
Sure.
Right? The universe is always working for us, not against us.
Right.
And so the awareness of that can be a challenge for some people. Cultivating that understanding of that truth. Like,
Sure.
am I really on my divine truth? Am I really on my perfect path, my golden ratio life path? I don't know if I am. I don't know if I am. So we have to put them through our exercises, whether, a couple months or 6 months, etc., to help guide them to that awareness that you are and you have always been. But this was a necessary component for you to come to that awareness, come to that understanding.
Sure.
Or they can just simply, oh, right, I knew that.
Sure.
Yeah. And so then there you are again, back on your own personal life path, your own personal journey.
That's amazing.
And perception really defines reality in today's world. Right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think too, it's something it's never too early and it's never too late. I mean, a lot of times people get up in age, they're already working at a job for 20 plus years. They're like, well, this is my life. But
right.
I mean, it's never too late. So I feel like that journey you can take at any point at all. And it's great that we have someone like you to guide.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is just facilitating the process for their own self-discovery. But
Sure.
it's nice to know that you have someone there experienced to hold your hand and guide you through the process, right?
Right.
And then when I finally let go of your hand and am encouraging you, right, and helping to cultivate that courage to do it alone, I'm still right along the side there.
Right.
Right.
Right. And you're still going through your journey. I mean, I think we all are until we.
Well, that's what
so.
keeps me human, right?
Yeah.
It's that level of, higher art thou, right, that you see within, say, religions, for instance, right? This higher authority that knows more than anyone else. Well, they're human and they're going through their own things, but they put up this facade that implies that they're not.
Sure.
And then we see that facade crack and all of that darkness leaks out.
Wow.
Right? So what do? We remove the facade and then we create this image that is representation of who they are authentically. And then they go back into society with this because it's no longer a facade. Imagine going to a masquerade party. And I always make jokes about this because this is what I do, right? And I go with a mask that's my own face.
Oh.
So who are you behind the mask? I'm like, no, who are you behind They try to rip my face off.
Yeah.
This is me. What are you talking about?
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So if you are representing to society the person that you authentically are internally, then there is no let me see behind the corner.
Sure.
Who are you beyond that?
Yeah.
No, I'm me. I'm still the same me.
That's great.
And that changes the dynamic of the ways people interact because then they want to provide you respect.
Right.
They're not imposed upon their will to respect you by fear or power or any of these dynamics that often come with these higher authoritative roles, even that of being a CEO.
Sure.
Which is part of why they can experience this burnout. They feel like they have to put on this image of being this strong, independent leader and never show what they would perceive as weakness, but otherwise vulnerability. And in fact, it's quite the opposite, is by showing who they are authentically, allows these people to then connect with them in a relatable way. And it says, oh my God, you're going through a similar thing. We're all going through this, but I still need guidance.
That's great.
And I want to receive this guidance from you. This becomes a personal choice, and that changes everything. It changes everything.
That's amazing. We had a Carlos Mendez, who's a retired Navy SEAL, and he does executive kind of coaching in corporations as far as culture and things like that. But that's one of the common things he would say is it's as a leader, you have to show vulnerability and you have to take ownership in things that you know and you don't know. And it's okay to say you don't know. And, because you can always tell someone walks in and they're talking to you, you can always tell when they're faking it or when they're being very aggressive because you can tell they don't know.
Well, there's a phrase in society that everybody says it's a fake it till you make it.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we say is be it until you become it.
Oh.
So it's a totally different perspective, right?
Okay,
We're not creating this illusion We are acknowledging who we are,
Right.
and then stepping into that fully. And there may be areas where you're like a little shaky,
Sure.
right? And that's okay. That's part of the journey of climbing up the mountain, right?
Right.
A rock might slip from underneath you, but once you get up there, you're like, oh, this is really who I am. This is who I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And we're up there, congratulating you, supporting you, and encouraging you to keep going forward. And the ideal perspective is then collaborating together, right?
Right.
As I really believe in no competition, only collaboration.
Right.
And a lot of our small business, our middle class has been indoctrinated with this perspective of compete with each other.
Sure.
Right? Well, we see all these larger companies and corporations constantly working together, like
Right.
nonstop.
Exactly. Collaboration. And
Exactly. Bringing it forth. No competition, only collaboration.
Yeah.
How can me supporting you support me, support you, vice versa? And how can
Right.
you supporting me support you and support you, right?
Absolutely.
So there's this constant feedback loop, and that's what we mean by the abundance mindset.
Right.
Is if I have skills and modalities available to me that I know could benefit others, then I would love people to support reaching out, right?
Right,
And
yeah.
vice versa. If I know that you have modalities or this other person has modalities that is going to bring benefit to the people involved, I want to actively talk about it. I want to actively engage with it and share it.
Sure.
That's how we effectively grow. And today's society with social media,
Sure. Yeah.
it's become an algorithmic casino,
Right.
right? You literally might get lucky and make it big,
Right.
but otherwise you're just constantly feeding, hoping that you're going to get more than a couple thousand views, right?
Right.
And you never really know what's going to happen, or some bigger person's going to say, "Here, let me post it on my thing."
Right. And
give
then
you three. And so that is the aspect of collaboration. If we were all doing that, then we would have this energy that supersedes this algorithmic program.
Yeah.
Right? Our lives are not defined by algorithms,
No,
right? I mean,
absolutely.
I anticipate mine isn't.
Right.
But then I look at it a little bit deeper, and I'm like, well, I mean, sacred geometry and the ways that our world operates, our universe operates, there's a code. There's a code there. Is it an algorithm? I don't know if it's an algorithm. I know it's a code, right? And
Sure.
vibrational frequency, geometrical form, like this information is what determines how physical reality operates.
Right.
So what is that code, and can we unlock that code? And so that's what we do is help people unlock that code within themselves, right?
Super interesting because you get to meet a lot of different people with a lot of different personalities. And, for me as well, when I try to help somebody, I'm not only just helping them, but I'm also learning from them. So
Right.
I love that collaboration of doing things. Even with the group on Fridays, we don't have I know a lot of other groups will make it exclusive. You can only have one real estate agent. You can only have one attorney. But for me, that's not a true sense of community. So we allow people from all different modalities, all different the same fields, and because some people you'll resonate with, and some people you won't. But you're going to learn from everybody. So
Right.
as long as you have this collaboration mindset and this open mindset, I feel like the businesses will grow. Personally, you'll grow. Everything will just continue to just be positive. So
100%.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Teach, learn, teach.
yeah,
Right? Always an opportunity to continue to grow with each other because
Right.
we are this interconnected consciousness that's learning from each other constantly. Yet at the same time, we have our own unique, individual, autonomous perspective, our own authenticity that we bring to the table. And
Right.
no one's ever going to be exactly the same, right?
right,
So it's a necessary component. It's like the puzzle pieces that complete the larger picture.
right,
Like we are definitely a piece in this grand puzzle of life,
yes,
right? But we each have our own unique little shape.
yes,
And this one piece may not go over here. It means maybe it needs to go over here.
right,
And you
absolutely,
gotta find that community that will allow you to fit right in
absolutely.
and become a larger part of this connectivity.
I agree. I think it's a lot of times people will get caught up on what's going around in the world and things that are out of their control, out of their hand, instead of just looking at what's your inner circle. How are you interacting with people within your own community? And I feel like that will multiply and continue to multiply.
You sound like a conscious observer there, Jim.
Well, you're already teaching me, see? So what are the plans? Anything else going on in the future? Because I know you have the Unity Expo that you're going to do next summer. Any other events, or what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I mean, just go into our website, divineobserver.com, and then unityconsciousnessexpo.com.
Okay.
But I do have a couple of different things that are happening. There's a wonderful spot called the Meditation Nook over in Kearney Mesa, and we'll be doing a couple different healings and facilitations there, one-on-one facilitations at that space.
It's inspiring. Like I said, it's affected me. So, I love this. I can't wait to hear this. We'll probably get a recording here so we can kind of just see it. But
I'd love to.
Yeah, this is amazing. I appreciate the time again. And reach out to Matthew if you want your company, if you want help with your company. Again, the culture, individually, if you need help. I think it's an inspiring story. I love that you're here and look forward to seeing what you do for the next year.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see myself. Things like this haven't really been done before. So every step we discover something different, discover something new, and I'm like, whoa, I didn't know that. Like, well, now we got to do it.
And that journey is fun, isn't it?
It is. It is a lot of fun, and it keeps me humble. It keeps me connected with other people. As we're all going through this growing process.
Right.
Things like this have never occurred on this planet in this capacity ever.
Wow.
So what a beautiful opportunity to reinvent how society sees the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, June. Appreciate you.
Yeah. And then again, thank you. Please like and subscribe. We're on the Heart of the Matter podcast on YouTube and Spotify. If you have any questions at all as well to advertise or sponsor, you can contact the Coast News Group or go to SD Group on Instagram or the groupcoastal.com. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.
Hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks so much.